event of the PGA Tour season is here. The last event, I guess, of the fall swing as we know it, because there'll be big changes coming next year. It is the RSM Classic. I am Geoff Fienberg. I'm here with oddschecker.com/US. Hit the subscribe. These videos will drop right to your feed each week. All OddsChecker videos. NFL season, NHL's here, NBA, World Cup is coming. Feels like there's always a fight on a weekend. oddschecker.com/US. We'll get right to RSM Classic. We're very familiar with this place. We come in here year in, year out. The prototype golfer seems to do, we're very familiar with it. You must be in the fairway. We're on 2 courses. You'll play 3 rounds at the, called the Island course, and then 1 round at the Plantation course. We're very familiar with what's going to happen here. You must keep that ball in the fairway. You can score from the fairway. Some of the easiest greens to hit in the entire tour. Some might say an event like this can turn into a putting contest. What it has done in the past has turned into a potentially very profitable week on the PGA Tour, as I feel like in recent years we've had 3 winners over 200 to 1 or over 150 to 1. Robert Streb, T. Dunks, Tyler Duncan, certainly just to name a few, but we've also had some guys on the shorter end of the stick, Kevin Kisner, and even recently Taylor Gooch last year. So the prototype golfer, keep it in the fairway. Everyone's sort of going to be playing for that second shot from the same place. It is not a golf course that you can overpower. Just trying to bring that grid up. Obviously, the buttons don't work for me sometimes as they should, as the guys behind the scenes at OddsChecker, I'm certain can have a laugh at on the regular. Let's get right back into it. Hit that Tony Finau last week, 24 to 1. We start this week. Tony Finau at the top of the board. He had that back-to-back wins last year, well, already this season. Prolific winner, Tony Finau. What are we, like 1 more win away from being able to like say that? Not actually, but proven winner, Sunday closer, Tony Finau, whatever way you want to put it. He's the chalk here again, coming in at 10 to 1. It just feels like his strengths are totally negated here. Now, he's great at everything, I feel like, but when everyone's sort of playing that second shot from the same place, it is a golf course that cannot be overpowered. I do not feel like going to the well with Tony Finau at 10 to 1. I just have no interest in it. If he wins and we could get to put those adjectives in front of his name as a proven PGA Tour winner, wouldn't that be fun? Up next, Brian Harman. Now, Finau's the only guy under. He's the only guy under 20 to 1 at 10 to 1. Harman up next. I have little interest here, although he is, I guess, captain of Team Sea Island this week. I'm sure it'll be a very popular betting narrative, and a lot of reasons to like him. Seamus Power does feel like he fits the course layout sort of perfectly, but if anyone under 40 to 1 were to get my money this week, it would probably be Tom Hoge. Tom Hoge coming in at 30 to 1 on the OddsChecker grid, as low as 20 to 1 over at DraftKings, and 30s out there. Coastal course, Tom Hoge, he can plot around this place absolutely perfectly. Absolutely perfect for him. His game type would fit right along those past set of winners. 30 to 1 at this sort of event that lacks the star power could be a little too short for anyone's liking, and I wouldn't blame you one bit at all. My betting card is going to get started at 50 to 1, though. I am going to jump back in on Davis Riley. Was in on Riley last week at 50 to 1. I feel like this week presents another great opportunity for Riley to end the year strong. I know it probably doesn't mean anything as it pertains to this week in betting Davis Riley, but if you'd asked me at Christmas time last year to name a Korn Ferry player to have the sort of success, or who's the most likely Korn Ferry graduate to have the sort of success that we saw Cam Young have this past year, for me, it would have been Davis Riley. Certainly, and I don't think I would have been the only one with that opinion. Certainly that didn't come to fruition, but I believe this event, 50 to 1 against this field, what a real consistent season it's been for Riley. Maybe not the ideal course fit, but this is one I'm just riding into the wall here, friends, as we come up to the end of the 2022 calendar year. on the PGA Tour. I think this number is more than fair. I think it's a talent play, especially for me. Davis Riley, 50-1 in this field. Easy click. Also 50-1, I have bet Mackenzie Hughes. Now, that's one to keep an eye on the odds checker grid, because I did take a shot. I didn't take a shot. I just mentioned what the numbers were. I mentioned to you that Tom Hoge coming in real low on DraftKings at 20-1. Well, they're doing us the favor here with the high water mark of Mackenzie Hughes, 50-1, as low as 35 in some other places, but pretty much a consensus 40 on the odds checker grid. But we are here for Mac Hughes, 50-1. He continues to show levels of consistency that I don't think we'd seen in some time from Mackenzie. And the fact of the matter is, he had a second place here last year, or some really strong events in the past over at Sea Island. He has become far more well-rounded player than just that player we'd see show up on our TV because he just hit some 55-foot ridiculous luck sack magic beans putt. So many things to like about the way Mackenzie is trending on a course he's comfortable with, on a course that can suit his game, and a course where the greens and reg are high, and we turn this thing into a putting contest. Give me Mac Hughes, 50-1. That's over at DraftKings. Continuing in this range, I do not mind Taylor Pendrith. It is one that I'm looking at. I've seen him as high as 60 on an enhanced number over at Bet365, 60-1 versus this field. Versus Taylor Pendrith, the guy, you put those irons in his hands and he can just pinstock the hell out of this place. And hey, that's pretty weird. I just mentioned Canadians back to back here. That's not something I do often. So the fact that I'm doing it, I must really, really like them. I don't even know that I've ever touted Mac Hughes before for anything. Pendrith, I'm obviously a really big fan of. And I think versus this field, that represents a great opportunity. Tempted in some ways to have gotten really cocky this week to play a card full of young players who I believe, play the ceilings. Your Davis Rileys, who I am playing, Sahith Theegala, continuing in that regard, Nick Harley, Will Gordon. I'm just playing the ceiling on so many of these young guys that I'm smitten with. But Sahith, I just don't think that some of these guys can overpower a place like this. Of those guys that I did mention, Will Gordon would probably be the one that I fancy the most. I've seen him coming in at 66-1. That one, I believe, over at BetMGM, as low as 41-1 at FanDuel. So again, always pay attention to the grid. I'm always paying attention to the grid. Sometimes people are like, man, can you make your video shorter? Just, tighten them up a little. And I'm like, sorry, I'm shopping. Listen, I don't like to go shopping. I don't go shopping with my wife. I'd rather stay home or sit on a bench outside the store. But I get it, I guess. I'm just here shopping, looking at all the numbers, seeing what's in that store window, trying to make the betting card for me. I get lost in the numbers. I get lost in the excitement of betting PGA Tour golf. It's sticking in front of 100-1. I have played Grayson Sigg on the enhanced win, 90-1 over at Bet365. Grayson Sigg, 90-1 over at Bet365. It does appear like there's a consensus 80 out here for Grayson. Maybe that is the smarter play because those would come with the each ways. I've taken the enhanced number, win only, because I don't know. I'm a go big or go home sort of guy. That being said, course record holder Grayson Sigg, part of that Sea Island crew, as I mentioned, that we'll hear so much about, obviously includes Harris English. If you believe Harris is back, we saw him trending in the right direction, going shorter up the board here. I would have passed over him already, but if you do believe that Harris is back, this would present as good of an opportunity as any for Harris English. 65-1 over at DraftKings. That is a pretty enticingly fair number on Grayson. And that brings my attention to the fact that Justin Rose, we saw him go off in the final group last week at the Houston Open. Some huge discrepancies on Rose. And if this is a second shot course from the fairway, maybe Rose can be live, but I'm seeing Rose coming in as high as 60-1 and as low as 33-1 on that odds checker grid, with stops along the way in the 40s. So again, that's why we use the grid. We find that number. Justin Rose, probably an attractive name for a lot of people. I know I had mentioned I thought he was injured or withdrew a couple weeks ago. That did not happen. So great to see he's healthy. Great to see he's playing well. Great to see a guy like Jason Day. If you bet Jason Day last week at 30-1, and I think a lot of people did, I think you got to do it again. I think you got to do it again. The way he is trending, the way this course I feel like could work for him in many ways. I'm not one of those people, but that's just a service announcement from me to those people who did go with Jason Day last week. We're going to round it up here, in triple digits, and we got to give it attention. I don't normally like giving it attention, but the fact that this RSM Classic seems to deliver them quite consistently, it probably is something that we should consider looking at. I don't mind my guy, Danny Willett, at 150-1 over at BetMGM. That comes in as low as 100-1. And getting super crazy, I don't mind David Lingmerth, guys. Let me find him on this grid. 200-1, 200-1 over at DraftKings for Lingmerth, who maybe you play that in a placings or extended placings or prop market or DFS, but the outright number on David Lingmerth in that super bomb, to go with the trends here of super bombs, which I don't really like to do. And as we sort of seen this year on tour, guys, how many courses had trends of long shots that just got blown up by the good players this year? Really? I mean, go look at it. If you're a long shot player, you've just gotten annihilated betting PGA Tour golf. For me, better to be lucky than good. But, for the most part, if you follow, I'd like to stay in that 25, 60-1 range, build a little 4 or 5 man pocket card from that, because good players win the golf tournaments, and that's just what's happening. But David Lingmerth, his form has been outstanding right now. Another little coastal track for a guy like Take Me to Your Lingmerth, as my buddy Cam Stewart would say. So that 200-1 would probably be the super bomb that has my attention. And if we're going back to, just starting at the head of the triple digits, maybe I gotta consider Sepp Straka here. We're going to still be on Bermuda surface. It's still going to be about that second shot. Although second shots won't be as long as I would like for Sepp Straka. And understand, I'm about to say Russell Knox's name. Having just said Russell Knox's name, it's probably something you would want to do with placings, and not a guy to mention Russell Knox to win any golf tournament seems like an enormous ask, let alone one that has already been described by me and probably everybody doing content this week as a putting contest. That's a dangerous name, but he is 110-1, and he does seem to handle these little he's hitting the ball very well, and he handles these little coastal tracks very well historically. He should be very comfortable here. I will be overexposed on Russell Knox in your DFS and probably prop markets. I don't know if I have the courage to pull that outright trigger. I'm going to get out of here. They're calling me. I've done too much shopping already. And sometimes when I'm not betting near the top, it allows us more bucks to do the shopping with responsibly. Like I said, if I'm going to stay under 50-1 at the moment, it is Tom Hoagie who has my attention at 30-1, but bets that I have made: Davis Riley 50-1, Mac Hughes 50-1, Grayson Sigg 90-1. Those are the bets that are in. Follow me at G Fienberg 17. Subscribe on Twitter. Hopefully that still exists. I believe it will. And I think we'll be able to laugh at the people who have their tweets saying it won't, but that's just my opinion, and I'm wrong a lot. So who cares about that? That's irrelevant to this conversation. But you can follow me on Twitter. We'll get that final card at G Fienberg 17. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Supports me. It's been fun chatting golf with you guys in this calendar year over at OddsChecker. A lot more fun stuff coming up in the new year, certainly, as we get back into the swing of things, and it should be another action-packed year of golf, because not that it makes me happy, but I certainly expect that competing tour will get bigger. They will acquire more players. They will be as aggressive as they were last year. And I believe with time, they'll be able to, work out some kinks, that were obviously incredibly apparent, like any startup would have. Again, I've just ranted and gone into another tangent about a conversation unrelated to the RSM Classic. Hopefully we can just bounce off that Finau win last year and finish the year strong this week. Davis Riley, I don't care if it's going to be super popular. Let's all do it. I believe it. Davis Riley, ride or die this week, 50-1 for me at the RSM. I'm out.